Let's start with an experiment. Not a metaphor, not a story, an actual experiment. And you're in it. I don't want you to overthink this. I don't want you to try and do the maths. I want you to notice what you feel pulled towards. Alright, here's decision 1. You have 2 options. Option A is you receive £1 million, guaranteed. No risk, no uncertainty. Option B is an 89% chance of £1 million, a 10% chance of £5 million, and a 1% chance of nothing. Which do you choose? Option A or option B? Good, now forget that choice completely. Fresh slate, new decision. Decision 2. Option C is an 11% chance of £1 million and an 89% chance of nothing. Or option D, a 10% chance of £5 million and a 90% chance of nothing. C or D? Lock it in. If you're like most people listening, you chose A in the first decision and D in the second. And if that was you, something important just happened. You broke one of the most basic rules of rational decision making, without hesitation, without confusion, and without noticing at all. This is known as the Allais Paradox. It was identified in 1953 by Maurice Allais, a Nobel Prize-winning economist, and it challenged a core assumption of economics, that humans make consistent, rational choices under risk. Classical economics assumes we maximize expected utility, meaning we weight outcomes by their probabilities and choose the option with the highest overall value. For that system to work, one rule must hold. It's called the independence axiom. In plain English, if you prefer option A over option B, and both options are changed in the same way, you must keep your preference. So if you preferred A over B in the first decision, you should prefer C over D in the second. The maths is clear, but your mind ignored it. When you saw £1 million guaranteed, your body responded before your intellect. There was relief, certainty, safety. Your nervous system relaxed. Option B offered more upside, but also more uncertainty. And uncertainty activates fear, not logic. By the second decision, certainty was gone, so your brain switched strategies. If nothing is safe, chase the biggest reward. Same person, different frame, different outcome. Humans don't experience probability evenly. The jump from 99% to 100% feels enormous. The jump from 10% to 11% barely registers. Because certainty doesn't feel like maths, it feels like control. And control feels like survival. This paradox doesn't live in textbooks, it lives in your daily decisions. It explains why guarantees outperform better odds, why risk-free sells better than statistically superior. It explains why insurance is so profitable. People aren't buying coverage, they're buying relief from uncertainty. It explains why people stay in stable jobs they quietly resent, choosing predictable dissatisfaction over uncertain fulfillment. It explains why many people remain in relationships they've emotionally outgrown, not because they're happy, but because the unknown feels threatening. But it goes deeper than that. It's why many people never start the business they talked about for years, not because it's a bad idea, but because a regular paycheck feels safer than belief in themselves. It's why people delay having difficult conversations with partners, employers, or even themselves, choosing short-term emotional certainty over long-term clarity. And it's why people stick with familiar identities long after they've stopped fitting them. They'd rather be certain about who they are, even if that identity is limiting, than face the uncertainty of becoming someone new. Certainty calms the nervous system, even when it quietly erodes growth, meaning, and self-respect. Most people don't choose the life that excites them. They choose the life that feels least threatening. The Allais Paradox didn't just reveal a flaw in economics, it revealed a truth about human perception. It's helped give rise to behavioural economics, and later prospect theory, which recognises that humans don't decide based on outcomes, but on perceived gains and losses. You don't experience the future as probabilities, you experience it as imagined emotions: regret, relief, fear, safety, shame, pride. Your decisions are emotional forecasts, stories about how future versions of you might feel, and those stories guide your choices far more than logic ever will. So here's the real question. Where in your life are you choosing certainty? Not because it's better, but because it feels safer. Where are you buying comfort with time, potential, or authenticity? Because the most expensive thing you can ever buy is peace of mind at the cost of who you could have become. And most people pay that price quietly, without ever realising what they traded away.